Hello friends, welcome back to the Charlie Files, where we make fun of chess games and definitely not the players themselves. It is time for us to reopen the Charlie folder and uncork the second episode of the Charlie Files. Now, our good friend Charlie is an avid follower of my YouTube channel, and so he developed a very special taste for my beloved Portsmouth Gambit, about which I made a video about a fortnight, maybe 3 weeks ago. And so today on the menu is going to be two games. We're going wild today by the one and only Charlie, both of them featuring the Portsmouth Gambit. So let us begin. E4, C5, knight F3, knight C6, and B4, and it immediately gets an question mark, exclamation mark from the very crude chess.com review engine. I have already written an official complaint to the chess.com crew, because on the grand scheme of things, given that it's a Charlie game, it deserves at least an exclam, but I think it's bordering the brilliant based on what we are about to witness. Rightio, takes, and and Charlie uncorks C3. Now, as a chess coach, that's not my chess coach hat on today, but as a chess coach, I particularly struggle with the concept of someone learning an opening and forgetting it on move 1, right? Because B4 introduced the gambit and then gone. Second move, like, nah. It's like high school kids when they go like, we should skip school today. We should definitely skip school. And the next thing you notice is that you're sitting in double mats going like, hang on, that wasn't the plan for today. What's this double mats nonsense? So yeah, good old Charlie forgot to play D4 here, which is particularly funny given that by this game he would have played at least like 8 to 10 Portsmouth Gambit with the correct D4. But minor details, let's not get hung up on these. Takes. So now we are in a very healthy hybrid of a Mora / Portsmouth, or rather a very healthy hybrid between chess and scissors paper rock. So E6, D4, 97 marvelous moves. By the way, I decided to leave the comment, like the actual annotation, on screen because it's like it's like a computer game, you know, where various things pop up on the screen and you're supposed to shoot at them. And that's exactly what's gonna happen here. Like, the blunders pop up on every possible square. It's quite something. It's very important in chess to never listen to chess coaches who tell you that first action is always in the center. That's when you want to win a game. You just go nuts in the center. Nay, nay, nay. Do not do that, because you would win chess games. Alright, C3 is a bit bleeding out, but Charlie's not fazed by the prospect of a endgame scenario with a pawn, or 17 pawns down, as it may turn out to be the case. Bishop D3. One question mark once again is within the realm, well within the realm of awesome moves here, so I'm not even gonna bat an eyelid. Now, bishop takes C3 is frowned upon by the machine, because the machine does notice nasty things like bishop A3 followed by knight B4, but yeah, don't worry about that. Tuck, tuck, tuck. And then comes queen A2. Now, you gotta love that when your opponent just goes like, what is the one and only thing? By the way, 1931. That's next level. Grab pawns with queens on the edge of the board, but don't worry at all, because Charlie counters with the super thematic castles. So rook a1 is not gonna be counted as a potential miss. I mean, king security is absolutely of utmost importance, so no one should judge good old Charlie for securing his king. And now the mandatory, you know, endgame scenario is on, because if your opponent offers a queen trade, the two scenarios you can choose from is to take it or to allow them to take your queen. There is absolutely no way you should ever consider avoiding the queen trade, especially when you are down material, having a vicious attack, and you have the two bishops and a raging initiative. Nah, don't ever bother with such nonsense. Just go forward. always forward Mr. Kazimierz, as good old Tal and his coach used to joke about this. So now we are down about the previously mentioned 17 pawns, but now comes the Karpovian endgame technique. What I really do like about Charlie's chess, especially note, by the way, this absolutely brilliant rook lift. But what I was going to tell you was that what I really like about Charlie's chess is that Charlie's chess is like a farm. He's the farmer, and although it's mostly poultry and, you know, animals with wings, Charlie, before the end of the last century, already ran out of ducks to give. Like, he just does not have ducks for any purpose whatsoever, but especially to give. Not to mention the flying ducks. So here the mere fact that he doesn't have a queen to support his supposed kingside attack, 0 ducks given. He just delivers without the ducks. Instead, these are mostly cows, but hey, you know, you just play with what you have and the attack just rages on. No whackers whatsoever. And yeah, now we are already only minus 3.6 instead of 4.5. Which it was earlier on, and yeah, just bringing on all the boys. This is marvelous. He seems to have forgotten that it's an endgame where this is not meant to work, but the opponent is going to play a very important part in this episode of the Charlie Files. So let me just get to the point very quickly. A couple of extra readies thrown in there for just to, you know, make sure that you don't fall asleep. Now I must show you that here there was a beautiful motive with take, check, king here, and then bring up the other chubby boy. And now we have got some very, very serious mate threats on the 5th rank, or potentially on the 4th. That was missed by our beloved players, but hey, that's all G. So yeah, nah, that was not gonna happen. Instead, we are aiming to trade pretty much every single piece on the board, because that's what you do when you come back from a miserable position and you have some initiative. Now, I really love this. I absolutely adore. This is like, you can count on it like taxes and death. Every single time there is a discovered attack, it's gonna be blundered like it was a must. But this is actually like a reverse psychology of Charlie's chess, because it's all part of the plot. And the opponent is completely unaware that grabbing this exchange and then running these pawns down towards the back rank is going to be their fate. I can't call it anything else. It has to be fate. Something interferes from above. You know, it's metaphysics already. It's more than just your everyday chess game. Now, I would like to open up the game here for an actual game between you, dear audience, and myself and Charlie, and I will do that with the second one too, because it's absolutely hysterical. At this point, I would like you to challenge you to take a guess about what the outcome of this game is going to be and how that outcome will be achieved. So like checkmate by a pawn, checkmate by bishop, checkmate by rook, white wins by any of these, black wins by any of these, stalemate, perpetual check. Just take a note of that, jot it down, and see if you get it right in the end. And if you pick a particular thing like a checkmate, I even recommend you to try to guess the mate pattern, because it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Hitchcock has nothing on our good friend Charlie. The opponent basically is already in a delirious state of mind, that's for sure, because those pawns needed to be pushed about 7 hours ago. And here comes the grand finale. So drum roll, please. Rook takes d6, ladies and gentlemen. And if you thought that this was gonna be a back rank mate with the bishop covering h7 and the pawn covering g7, joke's on you! Not gonna happen. Oh yes, yes, bishop a2, attacking the weak pawn, ladies and gentlemen. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. Remembering your first chess lesson when you were told f7 is weak. It also blockades the pawns in a marvelous fashion. Smyslov is like this now in his grave because of Charlie's marvelous endgame technique. But hold it, because now once again comes the grand finale. It is after all going to be a checkmate, but the pattern is reverse. Now, if that was not the most amazing twist in any story, I don't know. I don't know what that was then. So if you guessed that Charlie was winning with this particular mate motif, please send me a message. I'm gonna offer you a reward of some sort. And on that note, we must move on to Charlie, Mr. Charlie Silva and his next game, which is again featuring the Portsmouth Gambit. Charlie's chess life is pretty much like someone who goes on Tinder and only swipes right. Like, something is always gonna happen. Action is on every day, but some of them are more memorable than others. And Charlie and the Portsmouth Gambit is a little bit like that. Charlie doesn't really understand how to swipe left. It's always action time, but every now and then it gets a little bit funky, like this one here, C3. Again, Charlie must have forgotten the opening spirits, and he goes for connect 4, or at least tries to match the opponent's connect 3. So visually, absolutely next level. Chess-wise, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, D6. Now, the opponent is building a pyramid, so I don't know what Charlie has architecturally in his mind, but it is game on, baby. It is game on. D4, a mini V, a mini reversed V. I guess at least you want to get one on the chessboard. All right, so take, A6 are absolutely a must. Every single chess move. If you don't put the bunny ears out, you don't count as a chess player. Knight C3, E6. And bishop d3. Now, I would like to stop here because this is such a marvelous example of what Charlie's chess is fundamentally about. Like, this is the antithesis of a correct gambit play, right? Because here, sacking b4 is a brilliant idea. There is a good way to do it. You could go d5, and if the opponent takes the knight, you trap the knight and you walk away with a victory. Nah! That's not how we do it, my friends. We play bishop d3 so that when the knight captures b4, don't worry, they didn't, then, well, because now queen a4 check is on, but when they do, then it's gonna hit with a tempo. So just to perfect it. So bishop d3, knight f6, d5, takes, knight e5. Very good. That's actually quite a decent tactical awareness that was not on. So after all, bishop d3 wasn't as bad as I'm making it look, but of course d5 would have been a heap better. All right, so take, and at this point we're turning into absolute positional mastery, capturing e5, and then casually guarding b4, which, by the way, isn't hanging, just FYI. But let's name the absolute fuggliest move that one can find to defend the pawn. Yes, that is correct, ladies and gentlemen. Bishop a3 was the winning candidate for how not to defend ever a pawn. I mean, obviously castles was the chess move, a3 was the ugly move to defend, and bishop a3 is like, it is so utterly obnoxious that someone should take a picture of it and put it on the mantelpiece, perhaps even in a museum. Now, the middle game scenario of this game is rather boring, even by Charlie's standards, so with your permission, we are going to do a bit of a skipperoo here, and I just would like to gently point out that we basically put every single piece, or more or less all of them, on the most inadequate squares available on the board, but in some cases we ensure that we at least do it in 2 moves so that the opponent has ample time to counter it with full efficiency. So now after g6 we are facing an f5 e4 immediate winning threat from black's end, but such things never phased our good man, our hero, good old Charlie, who counterattacks immediately with gusto. Bishop h6. Now that you didn't see, did ya? Says Charlie. Of course, this is totally hanging, but the opponent is very worried about what's coming, and rightly so. So, a little bit of a skippery. We lose a piece. That's like, once again, Just think about Charlie as the farmer. No ducks given. That's part of the deal. That's how his games basically begin, because that's the moment when you know that this is by no means decided. That's where the real deal is about to come. I couldn't make this stuff up, guys. I swear to God, these are legit chess games. By the way, H3 was absolutely imperative here. It was just one of those moves without which the position, the very essence of what's going on in this microcosmos of Charlie's position just wouldn't work at all. It's now perfectly engineered, and the inevitable is to come now. Watch. So, moving. Trade queens. Always trade queens. Ben Feingold says never play f3. Now, if you do that, at least remember that when you're down a piece, always trade queens. Always. That is the safest way out. And then try to continue trading pieces, not pawns, but pieces. That is always what you want to do. A few interesting sacrifices here and there, but it's all for the greater good, so that we can, after losing multiple pawns, trade off pieces. Now, at this point, we open up our game, ladies and gentlemen, for the second time. Let's see who gets winner chicken dinner or duck dinner. How is this game going to end? What is the motive? Perhaps I asked a bit too soon. Actually, no, you know what? Scrap that. There's no chance you can figure that out from here, so I'm going to go a little bit further in. The opponent's endgame technique about converting this is impeccable, by the way. Not a single move that I understand why Black is doing what they are doing, but yeah. So now Rook takes h6 would actually have spiced life up a little bit for Black, but of course Charlie doesn't like easy tactics. He likes the complex ones, so he counters with a blunder. And now we are back to running in circles, because at least we need to keep ourselves fit if, yeah, the chessboard is just full of utter nonsense. Chucky, ringa, rosy, what are you doing? Alright, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I re-enter the conversation and I re-enter discussion. How is the game gonna end in terms of result? What motif or piece layout is going to happen? If you guess this one correctly, doubling the rewards. All right, let's see. So Rook h6 is quite cool, because if captured, then Rook h7 picks off the rook, yeah? Now the opponent is not fazed by that, and they push a pawn, which of course means that now we just get to check down the opponent's rook. But once again, Charlie is not misled by the easy trickery, because our poor friend thinks that it's him who is suffering the trick, because after f2 he cannot catch up with the pawn. Now this is only wrong about 7,000 accounts. One of them would be Rook f8 and the king takes, then we have a queen with check before this goes anywhere. We could do that on g8, and we also have h6 check first to add insult to injury. When if king takes, then we have Rook f8 stopping the pawn and then getting a queen. Anyway, Charlie didn't want to bother with any of this. Like a true gentleman, he goes in for the most noble win with a mate in one threat, which tragically isn't blundered. So if you thought that this was gonna end on a mate in one with the rook down there, unfortunately you are out of the contest, but please stay on to celebrate the victory of a potential other viewer who may have guessed the outcome correctly. Nope, not even perpetual check, don't you hope, because we take the g5 pawn, and now we are entering, after a few other million blunders, a rook endgame. Now rook endgame, that is the most delicious territory of utter nonsense, and this game is going to please you to no end. Rook f4, rook a2. Now at this point, any sane man and woman would assume 100% guaranteed draw outcome. Right you are. King g6, king g8. And good old Charlie, for the second time, because he's a truly gentle man who fights by the most noble rules, wants to go for the checkmate. However, he casually forgets two things about this whole entire threat. One, that it can be dispatched rather easily by rook a6 check, which allows the opponent a free queen and a hefty resignation from us, or the slightly less fortunate immediate promotion that allows black to block the mate threat and thus shattering our hopes. Or maybe not, because takes, and we have still something to play for, a pawn, which allows us what? To walk our king in front of it, of course. But you still don't understand, and nor does the engine. Once again, just like Mr. Kramnik, I'm going to write a complaint letter to chess.com because king h7 was a genius, friends. You know why? Because now after the check, we can hide our king on h6 and king g8. Now that is the ultimate draw that we could have ever hoped for. An absolutely sensational, scintillating finish. I would like to add this to this.
Oh, that's outrageous. The guy is so talented. It's beyond a joke.
Indeed, that is talent beyond the joke. So, yeah, that was it, ladies and gentlemen. This is Charlie scoring 1.5. Did he win? Yeah, he did win with the marvelous mate. 1.5 out of 2 on the Portsmouth, on the back of the Portsmouth. His overall record is much, much better than that, by the way. So there might be more Portsmouth Gambit Charlie games coming soon. But I think I'm going to now go on to the absolute belters. And next up, we are going to begin to explore Charlie's legendary king walks. Make sure that you tune back into those as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to chuck a sub, a comment down below if you can. Please press and smash that like button as well. Super thank me if you can, and I will be back with you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.